Hello and welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to another weekend preview. Big game of Premier League and Championship action coming up this week, and we start off on Friday night with Friday night Premier League football. Leeds host West Ham. Now this is an interesting one for me. Leeds, they've been a bit hit and miss lately. Disappointing defeat at Chelsea, but that's expected. West Ham obviously bottling that lead last time out, so it'll be interesting to see how they come back from that. I think it will be a tight game, and I think it will end in a draw. Next up, a Birmingham derby, or a Midlands derby, or whatever you want to call it. Wolves host Aston Villa. This is also a pretty interesting one. Both teams have been on a bit of a wobble recently after some pretty decent start. Wolves in 10th, Villa in 12th. This is quite an interesting one, really. Disappointing defeats last time out for both of them. But looking at the two sides, I do think Wolves have a tiny bit more quality, which is why I think Wolves are the favourites, and I do think they will get the win, and I'm going to say a 2-0 win. Next up, Newcastle host West Brom. Newcastle, of course, missed their last game against Crystal Palace, I believe it was, due to a bunch of positive COVID cases. West Brom, just a shocking defeat, 5-1 to Crystal Palace. Yeah, that's just an awful defeat, and they'll be looking to rebound quickly here. Be an interesting one. We'll see how Newcastle are affected by the COVID cases and how West Brom will bounce back. But to be honest, I don't see anything other than a really comfortable 3-0 win for Newcastle. It is the Manchester derby on Saturday at 5:30, and this is a really interesting one. Both teams seem to be finding their form again before Man United crashed out the Champions League. Man City, 4 wins and a draw in their last 5 in all competitions. I do think, looking at the two sides, they do have a bit too much quality, and I think a loss here will really put the pressure back on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I do think Man City are the favourites, and I do think they will secure a Derby Day win at Old Trafford. I'm going to say 2-1. Everton host Chelsea next up Saturday evening. Everton, they're just on a really dodgy run at the moment. Just 4 points from their last 5. They really need to pick up. Down to 9th, falling quicker than staying at the moment. Chelsea, they're on a great run. Seem to have found their form recently. Yeah, unbeaten in their last 5 in all competitions. But for me, this is actually really a close one. I can't really call this one. I do think it'll be a draw. Everton do seem to turn up when big teams are in town, so I don't think it'll be a foregone conclusion. I'll say 1-1. Southampton host Sheffield United next up. In the first game on Sunday. Southampton in 5th, really good when, however fortuitous it may have been against Brighton. Sheffield United just gutting with that late defeat to Leicester. That could really kick-started their season, but no, still 5 points adrift of any other team, and to be honest, I can't see it picking up here against a really good Southampton side, and in the end I do think it will be pretty comfortable for Southampton here. They just have a lot more quality, so I'm going to say 2-0. Crystal Palace host Tottenham at Selhurst Park. Palace, they've had a fairly decent start to the season. 11th's just incredible. Their last game compared to some of their recent games, not being a great run of form, and then they beat West Brom 5-1. Tottenham, just incredible start to the season. Mourinho's back. And looking at the two sides, Tottenham do have a lot more quality, but it'll be interesting to see how much of a high they'll be on after that win. I'm going to say 2-1 to Spurs. Don't think it'll be easy, but I think they'll win. Host Liverpool at Craven Cottage. Liverpool level on points with Spurs, and they seem to be back on their roll at the moment. As for Fulham, just seem to be losing most weeks really, and I do think Liverpool, with some key players back, I do think they will be back to their best here, and I do think it will be a comfortable win for them. I think it will be an absolute thrashing, actually, just looking at the difference between those two sides. I think it will be a 3-0 away win. Arsenal host Burnley at Turf Moor. This is a huge game for Mikel Arteta. Being on such a poor run recently, they just desperately need a win here, and I think they will get it. Burnley not on a greatest run of form, did pick up a decent point against Everton, but still in the relegation zone, so I do think it will be a comfortable win for Arsenal, and hopefully it will be the turning point for their season, because I do really like Mikel Arteta, so I do think Arsenal will win 2-0, let's say. Leicester host Brighton at the King Power on Sunday. Leicester in 4th, Brighton in 16th. Brighton just haven't had a lot of luck so far this season, really. Leicester, they've been on a pretty iffy run as well, but did pick up a win last time out against Sheffield United, and hopefully this is the turning point and they can switch back on and get right back up to the top again, and I do think they will do so here. I think they've got a bit too much quality for them, so I'm going to say Leicester 2, Brighton 0. The first game in the Championship is the Welsh derby between Cardiff and Swansea. Now this should be a really good game. Two teams in good form. Cardiff have won their last 4 and are not against easy teams either, picking up wins against the likes of Watford and whoever. Swansea draw against Bournemouth, win against Luton in the last 2, so they're doing well. Swansea in 4th, Cardiff in 9th, but to be honest, I don't think there's anything to choose between the two sides. I think it'll be tight and narrow like Swansea against Bournemouth, and I think it will be 0-0. Birmingham host Watford at St Andrews. Normally I would say a comfortable Watford win here, but for me this is quite interesting, because Birmingham have picked up some great wins recently, away to Bristol City and away to Reading their last 2. Who saw that coming? Watford in 3rd now, having picked up a comfortable win against Rotherham, but they seem to be really inconsistent. So I do think the two teams will share the points here. I think it will be a 1-1 draw and it will be a great result for Birmingham. Blackburn host Norwich in a game that I'm also really looking forward to. Norwich, yeah, they just had a great run at the moment, even with all the injury crisis, just showing their class. 4 points clear of 3rd, 3 points clear of 2nd. Blackburn intense, disappointing against Bristol City. They'll see that as a game they could have got some points out of, but 10 out of 12 before that. Norwich, I'm really looking forward to this game. Should be really entertaining. But to be honest, I don't think there's anything to split the two sides. I'm going to say 1-1. Bournemouth host Huddersfield in a game that would have been a Premier League fixture a few years ago, but Bournemouth in 2nd, Huddersfield in 12th. Huddersfield, good win against Sheffield Wednesday last time out. Bournemouth, draw against Swansea, they definitely should have won that, but still a good result on paper, and I do think here Bournemouth will have far too much quality for Huddersfield, and I do think it will be a comfortable 2 or 3-0. I'll say 2-0, I'll be nice to Huddersfield. Derby host Stoke at Pride Park. Derby, they seem to be really getting on a roll now at the moment. 4 points from their last 6 against some good teams as well. Brentford and Stoke, 2 teams you'd expect to be up there. Sorry, Brentford and Millwall, but they've played Stoke here today. Stoke in 8, disappointing home defeat against Cardiff, a game they should have won really. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond to that. I don't think they'll respond too well, to be honest. I think it'll be Derby 1, Stoke 1. Probably more happy for Derby if that result happens. Host Preston at Kenilworth Road. This is an interesting one. Luton, mid-table at the moment, as are Preston. Both teams have a lot between them in the league. I do think Preston have the slightly stronger squad, however, and their away form is just exceptional. So I do think, in fact, they're top of the away table. So I do think they will get a win here, and I think it will be Preston 2, Luton 1. That'd be a good win for Preston. Middlesbrough play Millwall next up at the Riverside. This is an interesting one. Middlesbrough seem to be leaking goals all of a sudden. Very rare for a Warnock side. Millwall on a shocking run, down to 17th now. Both teams will be looking to break it. I do think home advantage will be a big boost for Middlesbrough here, and I do think that makes them favourites. And I don't think it'll be an easy win, but I do think they will get the win and just pump more misery on Gary Rowett's side. I'm going to say 2-0, but I don't think it'll be a comfortable 2-0, if you get what I'm saying. Next up, Brentford are playing Nottingham Forest at the City Ground. And this is a hard one to call. Forest was so unlucky against Norwich in the midweek. Brentford really disappointing to Derby, only a draw. So this is actually, I think this is harder to call than you maybe expect. I think Forest might pick up a draw here. I genuinely do. They seem to be getting close. I think this will be the week they do. QPR play Reading next up at Loftus Road. This is an interesting one. Reading, really disappointing to Birmingham when they've gone on a little run after their little dip. QPR picked up their first points in ages and the wager against Millwall. Solid point that. I do think Reading have a bit more quality in the lineup. It's just that just don't want to go on another little run again of losses like they did recently, but I don't think that will happen. I think Reading will get a 1-0 win here. Next up, Rotherham host Bristol City at the New York Stadium. Bristol City, good win against Blackburn, maybe fortuitous in a way, but a win's a win. Rotherham in 20th, just seem to be umming just above the relegation zone. I want to put a bit clearer, but I do think Bristol City have the stronger squad here, and I do think they will get the win here. So I think it'll be 2-1. I just don't think Rotherham will pick up any points here. Next up, Sheffield Wednesday host Barnsley at Hillsborough. This is a huge game for both sides. Definitely more so for Sheffield Wednesday. Barnsley, 10 points clear of the relegation zone. They seem to be having a really solid season. Just to push even further away, this will be a great result. Sheffield Wednesday, 9 points. They've lost the last few, still winless under Tony Pulis. It's really poor from them. So, yeah, it'll be a really bad one if they lose, but I do think it's such an important game for them. I do think they will get the win. Wickham host Coventry next up in the final game, actually, I believe. Two promoted sides who are now struggling. Wickham, 11 points from 17 games. Coventry, 18 points from 17 games. Both are going to need to pick up. But yeah, I do think Wickham and Coventry are so evenly matched. I think it will be a draw here. I think it will be 1-1. I don't think this will be a fine game. Just two teams who desperately want a result. But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to follow me on Twitter. The link in the description below for daily football news, and subscribe to my channel on the screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.